In the years leading up to World War II, a German pharmaceutical company named Temmler Work began developing a new medication. By 1937, they introduced a seemingly innocent white pill called Pervitin. Sold over the counter with no prescription needed, it appeared to be just another pharmacy item. But inside was a potent substance, methamphetamine hydrochloride, essentially legal crystal meth. Though methamphetamine had been synthesized in Japan as early as 1893 and turned into pill form in the 1910s, it was Temmler's version that gained widespread use. Marketed in Germany as a daily pep pill, Pervitin promised increased energy, sharper focus, boosted confidence, and even help with weight loss. People across society, from students to housewives to factory laborers, took it to stay awake, enhance productivity, or simply feel better. Its popularity quickly soared. Pharmacies across Germany stocked it, and soon, the German military took notice. They realized that the drug's effects, reducing fatigue, suppressing hunger, and heightening alertness, could offer strategic advantages in combat. The military began conducting tests, observing how Pervitin allowed soldiers to go without sleep, march for extended periods, and fight with relentless aggression. It turned ordinary men into tireless, machine-like fighters. Impressed by the results, the Nazi command officially adopted the drug. By 1939, the Wehrmacht was receiving mass shipments of Pervitin. Temmler ramped up production as the military began distributing pills during both training exercises and active battles. Nazi military doctors hailed it as a breakthrough. Official publications praised Pervitin for enhancing soldiers' fighting spirit and risk-taking behavior. When Germany was preparing to invade France in 1940, the drug had become a crucial part of the strategy. Military pharmacists issued around 35 million pills to troops for that campaign alone. 2 or 3 pills could keep a soldier awake for several days. Some walked more than 50 kilometers without sleep, while tank crews stayed alert through grueling night shifts. Fighter pilots, amped up on meth, flew lengthy missions with alarming precision. For a time, this chemical edge gave the Nazis a significant upper hand. One German military doctor famously remarked, "Our real secret weapon isn't a tank, it's a pill." Nicknames like Stuka tablets, Go pills, and Panzer Schokolade, tank chocolate, reflected how deeply embedded Pervitin had become in the Nazi war machine. Sometimes, the drug was even hidden in candy or chocolate to make it easier to administer. This fit perfectly with Germany's military approach known as Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. The strategy revolved around swift, overwhelming attacks meant to catch enemies off guard. Such an approach demanded troops who could go without sleep, withstand exhaustion, and act with near-mechanical precision. Pervitin played a central role in achieving that. Tank crews and infantry were known to go without rest for 3 or 4 consecutive days. Pilots in the Luftwaffe flew bombing runs lasting up to 10 hours, often turning around and doing it all again without stopping. On the ground, soldiers trekked for 36 hours straight, sometimes through mud, snow, or dense forests while still engaging in combat. Some advanced over 80 kilometers in just 2 days, particularly during the invasion of France. One of the most remarkable examples came in May 1940, when German troops pushed through the Ardennes forest terrain thought too difficult for tanks. French forces didn't anticipate an attack there, believing it was impassable. But German soldiers, driven by meth, pulled off the impossible and did it fast. Many hadn't slept in days, with some units instructed to take 2 Pervitin pills daily, increasing the dose during combat if needed. But the initial boost had a price. When the effects wore off, the crash was brutal. Soldiers reported dizziness, extreme fatigue, paranoia, and confusion. Some collapsed mid-battle. Others became violent, irrational, or experienced vivid hallucinations. Entire units had to be withdrawn when waves of psychological breakdowns hit. In the worst cases, soldiers screamed uncontrollably or refused to follow commands, convinced they were surrounded by enemies who weren't there. By late 1940, Army doctors began reporting serious side effects, addiction, psychosis, and emotional instability among them. Still, military leadership continued using the drug because of its short-term benefits. While Nazi cruelty was born from hateful ideology, drugs amplified their capacity for violence. Meth didn't create the hatred, it stripped away the last restraints of morality, enabling prolonged acts of savagery. And then there was Adolf Hitler himself. Hitler wasn't just feeding drugs to his army, he was deeply dependent on them too. His personal physician, Dr. Theodor Morell, acted more like a supplier than a doctor. Though many in Hitler's inner circle distrusted Morell, Hitler considered him indispensable. If he had a headache, fatigue, or stomach pain, Morell injected something to fix it, and Hitler asked for these treatments constantly. From 1941 to 1945, Morell administered more than 80 types of substances to Hitler. While some were basic supplements, most were powerful, mind-altering drugs including regular injections of methamphetamine. These weren't mild doses. Hitler often received several drug cocktails a day. The mix included opioids like Eucodal, comparable to oxycodone, Pervitin, cocaine-based nasal treatments, and glucose-caffeine injections for energy. At night, Morell would try to calm Hitler with barbiturates. Incredibly, he even gave Hitler bull semen extract, believing it would boost vitality. By 1944, Hitler's health was clearly deteriorating. Footage shows his left hand trembling, sometimes hidden behind his back to avoid detection. His posture stiffened, his facial expressions became more rigid, and his speech grew erratic. His mood swings intensified, one moment overly enthusiastic, the next filled with paranoia and rage. People around him noted a change in his thinking. He ignored military advisors, trusted no one, and clung to delusions of victory. He fantasized about secret weapons and miraculous comebacks, likely fueled by the drugs he was taking. Despite all this, Morell continued his daily injections. By early 1945, Hitler appeared completely dependent. His body was falling apart, his skin pale, his teeth rotting, his stomach in constant turmoil. Tremors and insomnia plagued him. As Berlin burned above him, Hitler stayed hidden in his underground Führer bunker, issuing senseless orders while surrounded by sycophants. When he finally died by suicide on the 30th of April, 1945, he was a shadow of the dictator he once was, mentally broken, paranoid, and chemically destroyed. By that point, the Nazi regime was collapsing on all fronts. Allied forces advanced from the west, while the Soviets closed in from the east. German cities lay in ruins, the military was disintegrating, and civilians were starving. But inside the Führer bunker, the leadership clung to fantasies, many of them high on drugs. Joseph Goebbels, Nazi propaganda chief, used sleeping pills every night and spent his final days praising Hitler while preparing to murder his entire family. SS chief Heinrich Himmler relied on stimulants to maintain control over his crumbling departments but eventually sought escape or surrender. The Nazi hierarchy descended into chaos. Infighting intensified. Some officials fled, while others stayed out of blind loyalty or fear. Ultimately, the heart of Nazi evil came not from drugs, but from ideology, a belief system rooted in racism, supremacy, and authoritarianism. The decisions to invade, exterminate, and oppress were driven by these ideas, but drugs certainly intensified the horrors. Meth didn't start the war, but it supercharged the Nazi war machine. In the hands of already violent men, it became a tool for faster, more relentless destruction. After the war, the scale of Nazi drug use became clearer. Millions of tablets had been produced. Testimonies, medical records, and military reports confirmed that drug use extended from low-ranking soldiers to the top echelons of power. Yet Pervitin didn't vanish in 1945. In the decades that followed, it reappeared under new names. During the 1950s and 60s, a similar formula was sold in the United States as Obitrol, a weight loss and energy supplement. Later, Obitrol evolved into a drug known to many today, Adderall. While modern formulations differ, both trace their roots to amphetamine-based stimulants designed to sharpen focus and suppress fatigue. Some Nazi scientists involved in drug experiments escaped accountability altogether. Under Cold War programs like Operation Paperclip, researchers from the Third Reich were quietly recruited by both the US and the Soviet Union to assist with aerospace, weapons, and military medicine, including drug research. So what can we take from all this? Drugs themselves aren't inherently evil. It's how they're used and who is using them that makes all the difference. In Nazi Germany, drugs weren't used to heal. They were used to make killing more efficient. In the hands of a brutal regime, substances that dull fear and boost aggression became tools of genocide. When ideology and chemistry collide, the consequences can be catastrophic.